Hey guys, how are you? It is Friday evening and I'm at the office solo this evening. And I wanted to come on real quick because I had a couple really cool experiences. I'll probably just talk about the one in this video with the tarot cards in dealing with a client that came in, an in-office client, which is always a joy and a pleasure. I'm kind of getting used to the Skype and Facebook and these Zoom clients. I'm getting much more comfortable with the computer stuff. But this client came into the office. And he was starting his own enterprise. He wanted to start his own business away from what he was doing in the past, like a lot of people wanted to do. And he wanted some tarot consultation because he is under the same belief system that I am, that it's just a communication with your higher self, or the God force, as he called it, which is fine with me. I don't give a shit what you call it. And what was the crux of the conversation and where we started working with the cards was how he was using these words that were so diametrically opposed to each other in talking about his experiences with getting this enterprise up and running. It was just words of appreciation. It was words of just how much he loved what he was doing whenever he was doing it. But then he would come in the same sentence and talk about how frustrated he was, how angry he felt that it wasn't easier. There was a lot of disappointment in there, and just general, I would say, just an overall sense of fear. And if you understand sort of how the mind works the way I do, not that my idea is particularly the correct one or the right one, but we really only have the choice of two emotions. It is love or it is fear. And really love is the only pure thing because it's the only one that is kinesiologically tested stronger than any of the other list of emotions if you would put them on a list, which is why I work with this emotional guidance scale. And in fact, at the very, very bottom, your body gets the weakest with fear. And at the very, very top, that joy, appreciation, empowerment, those are all the emotions most closely associated with love. And it's important to note on this and how I use this and how I'd sort of like to introduce other tarot workers out there to sort of introduce this concept of empowerment and working with the emotion of love with your clients is because it's so effective whenever you understand that even though people say, and it's been a saying for a long time, the only two emotions are love and fear, it really is only one emotion, and that is love. The only opposite of that is the illusion that love is not present, which is why and when one experiences this fear and despair and powerlessness, okay? So this isn't an emotion itself. This is made up with the total lack of understanding that love is present in that particular situation. Universal law dictates. The law of one dictates. A Course in Miracles dictates. Even the study of consciousness and quantum physics dictates that there's one energy that overlies the entire three dimensions plus the fourth dimension of time, and that is that highest frequency of that which we call consciousness or love. Now, it gets interesting because as you add illusions to that pure top, only pure emotion is love, then you get a mix of these different ones in here. So a total lack of love, a total lack of being fully within yourself, owning your full consciousness as we are as beings in this world, you experiencing these lesser emotions, worry, doubt. These are the ones that I was hearing my client sort of flavor in all of this talk between the moments where he just really was feeling freedom and really excited and high expectations that this was going to work out. So what we did, he didn't really understand much about tarot, but if you understand tarot at its basics, you just put a couple different key elements together, and I'll be damned, everyone is a card reader from the start. So how we decided to move forward is that number one, I sort of made a notation to him that this is what I was observing. He was sort of all over this emotional map. He was talking about the high kinesiological tested emotions, one with less illusions are at the top, the one with more illusions away from this high emotion were sort of manifesting as the physiological response of these doubt, fear, worry, disappointment, blame, all of those. So we just pulled out 3 cards, all right? We pulled out 3 cards. You know what? No, we're not going to do that. So we pulled out 3 cards. And what I wanted him to do was begin to understand how we work with these images to allow I'm going to say the transcription into knowledge through his perception of where he was on this scale, and then be able to work his way up the scale. Because a lot of people think, and I know I did for many years of my life, that once you get locked into feeling a certain way, you're just there until something else happens to prove that you shouldn't be there. You should be higher. There's another reason to feel better, or something happens that even makes it feel worse. So the empowerment of tarot is to allow the person to experience that they can change their emotional state, because they, as they are climbing this scale, are getting rid of the illusions, the layered illusions that is taking them away from feeling how their higher source feels about that particular state. So I said, on this scale, overall general, where are you feeling about this enterprise, initiating this enterprise? He said, worry. Basically, I'm just worried about it. I said, okay, great. I'm going to have you be the tarot card reader. This is really great, guys. He loved it. I loved it. I think I'm doing this with my next session on Monday. He said, I'm generally worried about it. And I said, I'm going to pull a card. And I'm just going to, and it happened. I took the 3 cards, and I took a picture of them. So these were actually the 3 cards that were brought up. It was the 8 of Wands. All right, it was the 8 of Wands, and I said, now, Wands generally represent what you're doing, and because these images of what you're doing are kind of ending, you can kind of see from the left to the right that they're ending. So what would that have to tell you about how you're going about enterprising this new business that you want to do, and with the actions that you're approaching them now? He said, well, obviously they're coming to an end. I said, great, let's pull another card. And we pulled this. It was another 8, an 8 of Cups. He said, well, that kind of looks like a little bit of a sad card. And I said, well, yeah, it's a sad card, but let's take a look at it in another way. If you also know that 8's about movement or the lack of movement, this is moving, but it's also moving on. Let's take a look at the imagery to find that cup that's going to make that final set complete, right? He said, well, yeah, there really should be one there. It's kind of offset, and that doesn't make any sense. And I said, so this could be a sad card if you wanted to reframe, if you wanted to feel a little bit worse about it, like a quitting or a giving up or a moving on to change something completely. Or it could be you're going off to find what's going to work for you. And you could just feel him at this stage kind of perking up. His whole energy changed. I mean, it was really, really cool. And now I said, I pulled the 3rd card, and it was this wonderful Ace of Swords, which actually I just saw in a Jennifer Ball video. She did a VR to my Who Do You Think You Are? And it was just brilliant the way it came up for her. And I said, now, swords are all about your thinking. Aces are all about the beginning of something new, all right? Or the base quality of that which is your mental constructs of how you build your life. And he said, well, that tells me that we're getting into something new. And I said, fantastic. I said, how's that feel for you? He said, I feel pretty good. He said, I said, how do you feel about that? And he took a look at it, and he said, well, I actually don't feel worried about it. Honestly, I'm actually a little bit more just kind of disappointed that I'm not further, all right? Now, we started here. He removed the illusions that were holding him down at these lower kinesiologically tested emotions, and he was now feeling just a little bit disappointed that he wasn't doing better. Okay, so he was feeling better. That wasn't feeling good to feel disappointed, but he felt better at it. And I said, let's start right there. Now, with the imagery of this card, let's just see what we can't do with more imagery, because at this point, he was really enjoying being a card reader, all right? And so this is exactly what we did. I gave this card to him to hold. I said, remember that card's going up. If you're going to use your thoughts properly, you're going to feel better whenever you think them. You're going to work your way up because you're dissolving the illusions that kind of keep you buried and more muddled and more lost, the way your highest self is thinking about this situation, about you starting your job. So and this is kind of where I forgot to, I couldn't really keep track of it because I didn't want it to seem like I was, recording every card that came up. So I'm going to do it to you live time now. and I'm assuming it's going to work. I mean, why wouldn't it not? We're just going to give these a couple slices here because we were right here with this appointment. And what I did was give a little bit of instruction about what the card meant or the imagery, what it represented, what the number meant. And then he followed how he could feel better about looking at the same overall situation that he first started feeling worry about. Okay, so I'm just gonna put my finger right there, disappointed. And I'm just gonna draw it just here, and we're just gonna see if we can't work it up together the way we did it in the office. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, so let's just say that I drew this. I don't think this card actually came up in our reading. But this is the 3 of coins. 3s are the intensity of the quality of suit. It's the quality of the suit of state of being. And it's, for me, this represents mastery. It means working together, bringing in other people to help accomplish your goals, being at the top of your game. Basically, that's what I said, if this were the card, but it was another card. And I said, now bringing in this information, how could that make you feel? And he said something. I mean, our journey was a little bit different. I'll hold it up there. That damn glare, that glare is not making it easy. And he said, well, you know what? That actually makes me, let's just say, that actually makes me feel a little bit content that I'm not going to be doing this alone. Eventually, I got to bring in other people, so I might as well think about it as bringing in people now that eventually I'm going to find the right people. And I said, great. So you're feeling content about this enterprise. I said, yeah. And then we just drew another card. This is a great one right here for this example right here. This is the strength card, the 8th one. It was another 8. I said, look, 8th is about movement. This is about getting into the things that make you tick. I gave a little description of the higher arcana with another card, not with this particular card. I said 8 through 14. Actually, I think it was the Hanged Man actually that came in at this stage whenever we were working our way up. But for this example right here, let's just say I explained this is just about finding that inner part of you that says, you know, to hell with my obstacles, to hell with the past. Let's see, you know, what kind of gumption I have, what kind of soul spirit source do I have to get me through this challenge until I get this thing off and running. And he said, my gosh, in this example, if that would be like positive expectation that was going to happen. So you kind of get the idea. I would love to have known the actual cards and the actual steps that we took. But when you get your clients using a printed up emotional guidance scale where you help them get involved in the process of deciphering the cards for themselves, which is something that's so important to do because it means that they're deeper processing their own unconscious, subconscious meanings to what's going to be most effective to you. And this has a massive benefit, guys, because it shows them the way of the Ace of Swords. It shows them that they have the capacity to, at the end of their session with you, be feeling so much more of this positive expectation on the same topic that they had whenever they came in feeling worried about it, feeling angry or frustration or any of these more muddled, more covered up by illusions. Every time you step away from how your higher self feels about a goal, how you feel about your body image, anything, the shittier you feel about it, the more illusions are layered on top of that. So clearing your way through there, it's the best thing you can do for your clients, guys, is I think get them introduced to tarot. They may be interested in coming back to you to learn how to use the tarot cards because they can feel how it affected them, all right? You can do your past, presents, and futures a little bit later, but I think for now, to be able to introduce the idea that these cards just access that part of yourself that makes you feel empowered, and confidence is key in this world. It changes futures. If you've been doing it as long as I have, if you get a person feeling confident, they talk different, they think different, they act different, they move different, they plan different, they plan bigger, and it's incredibly effective in helping other people because that's why we're here. All right. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took some nuggets about how to incorporate possibly your clients' emotions, how they can navigate their own Ace of Swords up it so that they're leaving your office literally changing their futures. All right. So thank you for joining me, and I'll catch up with you very soon. I have another idea for a video coming up right now. Okay. Bye, guys.